your hour of encouraging talk and music. This week, I was able to catch up with my friends and up-and-coming Christian rock band Never Forsaken. They released their debut album called The Journey Here May 1st, and I really see big things for these guys. Not just because they're my friends, but because the music is great, their show is great, and they are the most hard-working band that I know of. Seriously. I spoke with lead guitarist Jim Dallett, keyboardist Sam Santos, and lead singer Denise Jubb of the band. I know you will enjoy their testimonies, their personalities, and their music, most importantly. That was Break the Chains by up-and-coming Christian rock band Never Forsaken. Now I want to share with you my interview with the guys from the band and girl, Sam Santos, keyboardist, Jim Dallett, guitarist, and lead singer Denise Jubb. Enjoy. Question number 1, you're releasing your debut album called The Journey Here. Yay!
Finally.
When does that actually drop?
May 1st.
So tell us, what did The Journey Here look like for each of you?
Well, basically, when I thought of The Journey Here, it was because, like you already know, we were a secular band before, and it was kind of our journey into that transformation.
Okay.
Into this new sound, this new message. And I thought it was kind of appropriate, everybody being from different backgrounds and different paths. It was a consolidation of all those stories coming into this new journey, and this is where this journey has brought us to.
Very cool. So you have an interesting story, though, in background, Sam. You're in a cover band or an original band, right? Called
I've been
Tribal
everywhere.
Scream.
I've been in cover bands, original bands, you name it.
And you toured Puerto Rico?
Well, yeah. I basically, Puerto Rico's an island, as you all know.
Yes.
So
I don't know because I have no idea about geography or anything.
It's 100
like that.
miles by 35 miles, so you can actually, tour around it all the time. But yes, I had the opportunity to record a CD in Puerto Rico, and we had the blessing to go to Europe, Spain specifically, to tour for like 3 months. The promotional tour, it was very, very interesting. I loved it. Of course, other stuff happened after we got back, but that's another story. But yes.
You don't want to share that with us?
Oh, well, basically, the music business,
story.
The music business is, I don't know, it's probably like that everywhere, but in Puerto Rico, it's very corrupted.
Yeah.
It's about money, and basically what happened was that our promoter stole all our CDs, all our promotional budget money.
How many CDs was that?
I don't even know.
Oh, my goodness.
And they stole we had like a budget for a radio promotion, like 12 G's. So he just took off with it. So basically when we came back from Spain to start our promotional in Puerto Rico, we were left without anything.
With
no
nothing.
CDs, no money, nothing. So that killed the band right there. Everybody was like so disappointed. And
but you didn't break up from there, did you?
Oh, yeah.
You did break up.
Oh, yeah. It was like,
Like, what are you going to do next?
Yeah. I moved here. That's what I did.
Wow. Do you think that was kind of part of God's plan, to use that for his kingdom?
Yeah. I think, it was part of the plan.
We're going to come back to my interview with Christian rock band Never Forsaken, but right now I want to play for you their song Take Control, which I think goes right along with what keyboardist Sam Santos was saying in his testimony, that sometimes things have to fall apart before we allow God to fully take control of our lives and let him do what he wants to do because he knows what's best. So if you're in a trial, don't despise that trial that you're going through. Let God change your perspective and ultimately let him take control. By up-and-coming Christian rock band Never Forsaken, and they just released their debut album called The Journey Here. So out of curiosity, I asked the 3 members that were with me out of the 6 members of Never Forsaken. They are quite a big group, and I do see big things for them. And I asked them to tell us about their personal journey here to Christian music. Here is lead guitarist Jim Dallett. Jim, the question goes to you. So tell us about your journey here.
Basically, my wife got me into playing in bands.
She's a good wife.
Well,
Lois.
That's where I met her when she was out playing in her band, and I was just kind of hopping around, watching live music, and when she and I started our friendship and started dating. She was like, "You play guitar?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit."
Just a little bit.
Well, at the time, I hadn't played for years.
Oh, okay.
I played a lot when I was younger, but I put it down for a while. And she said, "Well, you play guitar?" And I said, "Yeah." "Well, you need to play in a band." I said, "No, I don't." "I don't need to play in a band." "Oh, no, you should play in a band. That's where it's at." So long story short, I kind of came out of guitar retirement and started playing again. And she got me an audition one night when I didn't even know I was going to audition. It was kind of interesting.
She tricked you?
She did. She gave me a couple songs. She said, "Hey, learn these songs." And I said, "Okay, why?" Just learn, right? Then some Friday night, she said, "You need to go to this address." And I show up, of course, bring your gear. And I was like, "Here we go."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that was in 2006.
Now,
so
why were you turned off to being in a band?
I had heard stories, and I just
experience.
Yeah, and it's hard enough to do something and dedicate yourself to it without having to rely on multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want any parts
I
of
hear
it.
you,
And
yeah.
Weren't you into racing back then?
Yes, I was racing at the time.
Racing cars?
Yeah, big change.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that.
Ah.
New York and Pennsylvania.
Were you good?
Depends on what you consider good.
Well, it's scary to ride with him when he's going on
Is it?
55. Yeah.
Everybody claims I'm a bad driver.
You'll
No,
be
you're
like,
a good
"Ooh,
driver."
Stop, slow down.
So yeah, I mean, and it was at the the season usually the racing season was done in the fall, so that's when I would start going out again because the racing season was over, and that's when I met my wife. She was playing in her band, so here I am now. I played in a couple of original bands and got my South Jersey teeth cut in by South Jersey bands, and
Oh boy.
yeah, and that led to meeting Sam. So yeah.
So you heard it from lead guitarist Jim Dallett of Never Forsaken that your spouse can help lead you into God's will for your life. I hope, and I know that I've kind of done that for my husband, Stephen Childs. They say that the man is the head of the household, but the wife is the neck and can turn the head whichever way she wants. So I love that little phrase, and you can use it on your husband's wives. And I think it was a good move that Lois kind of pushed Jim into this ministry because it really is taking off. This band has really great vision. And I'm going to let them tell you what they hope for Never Forsaken in the coming years. What do you see for this band, Never Forsaken? Where do you guys want to take your ministry?
Well, we want to be a full-time ministry.
Full-time ministry.
And we're doing everything that we possibly can with the resources we have to bring it to that level. I mean, dream-wise, I would love to show my daughter the world playing this music and meeting people and sharing testimony with them. And that's where I'm at. I mean, I've never had a situation where I could just, dedicate every working day to my music. And I do my best thinking in the morning, and most mornings I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're a teacher, right? Full time.
I try. Yeah.
You do try.
So
you do very well.
And it's tough because, man, I can't tell you how many nights I've come home, and sometimes I even work a second job too after school, where I'll get home and I'll see my daughter for a little while. We'll eat dinner together. Then it's like, all right, well, now you got to switch gears and you're shot.
Mm-hmm.
And we have already created, and I hung this next to my computer monitor. We've created a schedule of how we would do things if we were able to do this full time. And I mean, it starts right at the beginning of the day, and we've got every single thing laid out. So I look at that. It's like a vision board. And yeah, I would love to be able to, Lord willing, obviously minister full time through this.
So what's on that vision board? What's the schedule look like?
Funny you said that. The first thing might be a little shocking, but we would have everybody meet together and work out.
That's a great idea.
I don't know if it would
I would
fly
love to
or
join
not.
you on that.
Oh yeah, team fitness, absolutely.
That's an excellent idea. I know Jeremy Camp works out like a beast.
Yeah.
On tour, he's constantly doing the PX90 or something.
Yeah,
whatever
I saw him
that's called.
at the Harvest Festival. It was like was like, oh my God.
Showing his guns.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
He's huge.
Yeah,
He's like a solid rock. So that's what you want to be like?
No, I just, I don't expect to be like that. I'm too old for that, but no, that would be a great way for us to start our day off.
Would you guys all live in the same house? At your house?
Well, actually, we've talked about that because everybody's over my tiny house all the time
They
anyways.
are.
So, yeah, it would be, we wanted to build like our own little neighborhood complex.
Yes.
Well, I know Bob, the sound engineer, you live like right across the street, right? 2 houses down. It's funny.
I live like 17 and a half houses down.
17 and a half.
Yeah. There's a shed there. But yeah, we thought about it. I said, hey, if we ever make some money out of this, we can
why
buy
not?
25 acres and then just...
Nothing's impossible with God.
No.
You know?
It isn't.
That was Never Forsaken. And if you like what you're hearing, you like their music, their testimonies, you can check them out at neverforsakenmusic.com. They would love to come minister to your area, to your church event, whatever you got going on, your youth event. They're a great band. They put on a great show. So if you want more information, please visit neverforsakenmusic.com. We're going to continue with my interview with lead guitarist Jim Dallett of Never Forsaken, Sam Santos, keyboardist, and lead singer Denise Jubb. Right now, Jim's going to give us a little backstory about his daughter Darla, who has a very rare heart condition. So I'm going to let him tell you about that. Actually, I wanted to talk about your daughter, Jim. You have quite a miraculous story with your daughter Darla.
Oh, yes.
And her heart. What exactly is her medical issue there?
We found out a couple years ago that she has a condition that's called SVT. I forget exactly what the acronym stands for, but basically she has a condition where every once in a while the upper portion of her heart gets out of sync with the lower portion. So when we found out that she had this, her pulse at a school dance one night went up to over 200 beats per minute.
This was the first incident.
This was the first incident,
yeah.
And she's a trooper, and she'll very rarely tell you if anything hurts or if there's a problem for some reason. I don't know why. So my wife took her to the emergency room, and I didn't get there in time for this, but my wife told me that pretty much every doctor in the emergency ward of the hospital came to her because they had, this was such a young child, and they basically rebooted her. So they stopped her heart like a computer. Something's wrong with your computer. When in doubt, shut it down, turn it back on again.
Wow.
So that's basically what they did. So they rebooted her.
That must have been really scary.
Well, yeah, my wife was a wreck.
I'm sure.
And then, then we transferred to DuPont Children's Hospital and found out this condition that she has. So now we have it under control, but at this point, she's getting to the age where it's old enough for us to have a procedure done to try to fix it. So that's something we're preparing for.
Now, how has that affected your relationship with the Lord? How have you seen the Lord's hand in what, the situation that's going on with her?
Well, honestly, I don't stress it as much, because if there's anybody that's spirit-filled, it's my daughter. She is a very spirit-filled little girl, and she's benefited from us coming to God as well, because she's getting educated, and we pray together every night before she goes to bed. And I just, these times are scary, but that He's in control.
We'll come back to my interview with Never Forsaken in just a bit, but I wanted to take a minute and embarrass myself with this crazy story. I was playing an event with Never Forsaken last spring outside, and as you all know by now, Jim and Lois have a daughter named Darla. Lois plays bass in the band Never Forsaken. Well, I was in charge of watching over Darla while they played their set at this particular show, and it was super hot outside, so they wanted me to make sure she didn't run away because she is fair-skinned. Well, I was watching Never Forsaken's set, and I was so drawn into the music and the emotion of their set, and essentially I took my attention off of Darla. And about halfway through the set, my friend's husband asked me where Darla was. I looked over at the tent where Darla was supposed to be, and she was gone. So I start freaking out, and I begin running around all over this festival looking for her, and Lois sees me from stage, and she begins to panic while she's playing bass during one of her songs. And meanwhile, my friends who saw Darla run off are laughing hysterically at my poor babysitting skills. But fortunately, after running all over God's green earth trying to find her, I found her by the petting zoo. She just wanted to pet the goat that they had there at the festival, and it turned out they were selling puppies too. So I had to chase her back to the tent so she didn't get burned, and I even tried to put my jacket over her, which she would not let me do. And I vowed never to have my own kid. Ever. I'm talking to up-and-coming Christian rock band Never Forsaken, and they have released their first single called We All Fall Down, and it is incredible. I definitely recommend that you check out their music. Go to neverforsakenmusic.com, and they're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. So this is Jim talking about the story behind the song and what it means to him.
From my take on it is that, when you run into adversity or if you have a problem, our God wants us to lean on him and reach up for him. And that's, in a nutshell, that's what the song means to me. And he wants you to rely on him. He wants to be that shoulder for you to cry on when you're going through something. And I know that my immediate instinct is always, okay, what are you going to do about this, Jim? How are you going to make this work? How are you going to fix this? And that's not how God wants you to handle the situation. And I think that's what that song, that's the abridged version of it.
That was We All Fall Down by up-and-coming Christian rock band Never Forsaken. You can buy that awesome song along with 7 other songs off of iTunes. And if you happen to catch Never Forsaken live, they are selling their album The Journey Here at their merch table, so you can actually meet them and talk to them in person. But let's continue with my interview with Never Forsaken. Hope you're enjoying it so far. What can people expect when they come to see Never Forsaken live?
Well, when we went down to the objectives, one of the speakers was, trying to convey to the musicians in the room was that, just because you're doing this for God, it doesn't mean it has to suck.
Hear, hear. Amen to that.
And
amen.
Me personally, I think if it's for God, it has to be way better.
Absolutely.
Than for anybody else. And secular music, of course, they got big budgets and they go all out.
They're way ahead of us in many ways.
And I think, I was talking to Jim. I was like, why not? We got to do this the same way to at least capture the attention of the people and lead them to the message. It's not just good enough to stand on stage and just jam and play the songs and whatnot. You got to have this other element to bring them in, whether that be video or light show, all the elements that a normal concert will have. And of course, a lot of Christian artists, as you know, they have all these production values. But then when you go down to the upcoming level, you don't see it. So we were like, you know what? We want to try to bring that production element to this level down here, which is more a grassroots kind of effort, but we still have that production value as the guys in the big leagues. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, our final goal is to, like I said, bring a great show production value to a lower scale touring situation, I guess.
So that concludes my interview with Jim Dallett and Sam Santos of Never Forsaken. But up next, we have lead singer Denise Jubb, who's going to share her heart on some of the songs from their debut album called The Journey Here, as well as sharing with us her experience recording the actual album. So you don't want to miss that. We just spoke with Jim and Sam from Never Forsaken. Now we have the lovely Denise Jubb from Never Forsaken, lead singer. We were talking about the album called The Journey Here. And I asked Jim and Sam, what their journey to this band Never Forsaken looked like. So tell us, what did the journey here look like for you?
Well, I had been in a few different bands. They were like garage bands. And I had been cultivating my writing and and also playing guitar in the past 13 years. Nothing too...
Acoustic guitar?
Yes, acoustic guitar. And basically trying to figure out where it was all going to go. But back in 2009, when I dedicated my life for good to Christ, I said, I'm going to keep doing this until you open up a door of opportunity. And about 3 years after that, 3 years almost exactly, that was when that night you and I were at the coffee house, and you said, hey, listen, I got some friends I want you to meet. And so that was when I was introduced to Jim Dallett.
You had a
Lois.
desire to be a part of a band.
Absolutely. I'd been praying about it. I said,
know.
Lord, give me a band, will you, please? Because I'm not like, terrific at guitar. Like I just, I wasn't like Neil Sean or anything. It was kind of like ding-a-ding-a-ding. And get through a few good ditties and that was it, So I felt as though I needed to belong to a band. And so not long after that, about a year or so of praying about it, I'd say that's when that all came to be. And then Lois said, actually how I approached Lois was, I've been praying for a band. And she said, well, we've been praying for a singer.
So tell us about the experience in the studio. I heard
Yes.
you were stretched emotionally, vocally,
Yes.
physically, mentally.
Yes. It was exciting.
You had an alter
experience.
ego.
I did, Rebecca.
Rebecca. Now, why
That's-
Rebecca?
I don't know. I didn't name her. That was all Travis's doing. Yeah. He's like, what do you want to call her? I'm like, I don't even know how to describe. I couldn't even formulate a thought at that moment. Like, I don't know. You name her. I don't know. But yes, it was intensive. And the thing is, we didn't have much time to play with. We all have day jobs, and it was hard to get away from the man. So the first week, I think was a little bit more of
The man,
fun.
you mean your boyfriend?
No, my boy. Number one, I did not have a man back then. The man meaning the corporation.
Yes,
or,
that's what I thought you were
the
saying,
man,
but I
yeah.
wanted to clarify that
no,
the man.
Thank you. Yes, no, that's good because other people would think that I had a controlling boyfriend, which I would kick his butt right out the door, if that was so.
Yes.
No, but he couldn't get the emotional response that he wanted from me. That's what it was.
Okay.
I was so guarded.
So he pushed you.
Yeah, I was guarded. I was very guarded. I did not want to be vulnerable. But the thing is, what I didn't understand is that in the studio, you have to be that way. You have to be like an open wound. You just have to let all your inhibitions go and emotionally just let go.
Was there a reason why you were being guarded?
I'd probably because I didn't really know him, and I'm around all guys, and guys aren't emotional really.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, okay, I don't have any other female there for support.
Yeah, I'm
So it kinda
around
felt
guys
funny.
24/7 that I've forgotten how to be around a girl.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. I've never really been an emotional person in that aspect.
Oh,
you know what
okay.
I mean?
So
Like,
that's maybe why you were.
I'm in control. Yeah,
guarded?
I'm in control of my emotions. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, kind of thing. And so when he started picking at me, Travis is a genius at this. He's gifted by the Lord, I believe, and he did not give up. Bless his heart, because I was tough.
So thank you guys so much for coming on the Des Child Show, Never Forsaken. Where can fans find out more information about you?
We're at www.neverforsakenmusic.com. We also have Reverb Nation,
ReverbNation.com.
Twitter, Facebook, and a whole lot of other stuff that you would if you go to the main website, you'll see all the links for that.
And everybody has a Twitter and a Facebook.
Most
pretty
people
much
do, yeah.
Personal Twitter and
We've
Facebook.
hit up every possible, I think, bit of social media that we know
Could
of.
possibly.
Sammy hooked that up. Yeah.
Pinterest. Are you on Pinterest, Jim?
We're
Jim
not
is
on
not on
Pinterest, though.
Pinterest.
But Cassie is.
Cassie's
Cassie,
on Pinterest. Well, Cassie
she
is
helps with the. She basically takes care of the merch situation. Yeah.
Bob's fiance,
Our sound dude. Yeah.
sound dude,
Yeah.
Bob the Builder.
Can we do it?
Yes, we can.
Can we build it? Yes. You can do it.
That concludes my interview with my good friends and up-and-coming Christian rock band Never Forsaken. If you want to find out more information about them, go to neverforsakenmusic.com. And if you want to book them for your church event, your youth organization, whatever you have going on, they bring a awesome show. So I highly recommend that you book them for your next event. If you want to call us here at the Des Child Show, please do so at 856-244-1503. Again, that number is 856-244-1503. You can find me on Facebook as well at Des Childs, DEZCHILDS, as well as Twitter and Pinterest. Thank you so much for tuning into the Des Child Show. And remember that nothing is impossible with God. Have a great day and God bless.